A huge Arctic blast is coming to the United States this week, and this is going to bring the coldest weather that we've seen in years for parts of the United States, in addition to another winter storm that'll bring heavy snowfall and ice to areas like the central and southern plains, even back into parts of the Dixie Valley and the Tennessee Valley, and then eventually towards the East Coast. So in today's forecast, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about this upcoming winter weather pattern that is going to be very crazy. So we'll begin with what's happening across the country today, and we have a huge storm moving across the east coast of the United States. We've had severe weather happening over the last 24 hours back over in the southeast. We are starting to wind down on that, but we end up seeing a few tornadoes and really a severe weather outbreak in general back through the Dixie Valley and the Tennessee Valley yesterday. In addition to that, heavy snowfall is continuing back over in northern New England, and it is now moving through parts of the Ohio Valley. Eventually, as we go into tonight, this will start to wind down and we'll be done with this big storm. But our next big storm is actually going to come from an Arctic blast that arrives as we go into Tuesday and into Wednesday, and that is set to bring a pretty good amount of snowfall to areas like the central and southern plains and then back through the east coast. So if you thought the last couple of months have been cold, it's about to get a whole lot colder for many areas in the Great Plains, the Ohio Valley, and even back through the east coast. And this map here shows you the temperature anomalies, which is the departure from the average temperature in your location. And this is what it looks like this morning. Many areas in the Great Plains are around 15 to 20 degrees below average, while well above average temperatures are impacting the East Coast. It's going to be a lot different though as we go into early to middle of this week. Notice as we go into Tuesday morning, we are going to have many areas in the northern plains and the Midwest as much as 30 to 50 degrees below average. This is going to lead to some very cold weather. But eventually, as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, that cold air is not just impacting those areas, it's going to spread into the central and southern plains and even into the Ohio Valley. Look at this by Wednesday morning. We're going to have many areas, even down into Texas, as much as 30 to 45 degrees below average. Obviously, the Ohio Valley and Northeast might not look impressive here, but it's actually going to get a lot colder as we go into Thursday. By Wednesday afternoon, many areas in the central plains will be as much as 40 to 50 degrees below average, and then eventually, as we go into Thursday morning, this is set to be the coldest morning that we've seen all year long. Over 50 records are expected to be broken on Thursday morning at different weather stations across the central and southern plains due to how cold it is going to get, as we are going to have several areas as much as 25 to 50 degrees below average across the Great Plains and as well as back through the Ohio Valley and Midwest. This cold air will all go to the east as we go into Friday. By Friday morning, many areas in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley and even into the Dixie Valley as much as 40 degrees below average. And then by the time we go into Saturday, it continues to sit in the Ohio Valley and East Coast before eventually we think warmer weather will return for the very end of February. So in terms of the actual temperatures, this is what we're waking up to on Wednesday morning. Sub-zero temperatures across the Midwest and the northern and central plains, as low as 30 degrees below zero for an actual temperature. These are not the wind chills. Below freezing temperatures will get down close to the Gulf Coast. Many areas, even in North Texas, as cold as 10 degrees. The Ohio Valley as well, out there in the single digits. This is what it looks like by Wednesday afternoon. Many areas in the central and northern plains might not get above 5 degrees. It is going to be frigid on Wednesday, and this is straight up hazardous cold out there. So make sure you're staying safe out there and bundle up if you're going outside. Eventually, as we go into Thursday morning, this is the morning that we are expecting dozens of records to be shattered across the United States, with many areas sub-zero in the central and northern plains back into the Midwest, and also below freezing temperatures all the way down to the Gulf Coast, right behind a winter storm that'll also be moving across the Dixie Valley and as well as the East Coast on Thursday. Friday morning's not much better. We're going to continue to stay very cold even into Friday and Saturday before eventually things start to improve by the very end of February. In terms of the wind chills, this is what we could be waking up to for feel-like temperatures Wednesday morning, as low as 50 degrees below zero back over in the northern plains. Even down into Texas, we're talking about sub-zero feel-like temperatures. Ohio Valley and Midwest as low as 30 degrees below zero for feel-like temperatures. By Thursday morning, it's not much of a difference. We're still talking about frigid weather out there. You're going to want to make sure that you're bundled up if you go outside. There's no reason for flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt right now. It's going to be very cold this week. Make sure that you are prepared for this as we go into the middle and end of this week. We've been dealing with a train of winter storms over the last 10 to 14 days, and we have another winter storm coming this week, and this one is going to be much further south than the other two. This is what it looks like as we go into Monday morning. All of that snow and ice will be moving out of the northeast as we go into tomorrow, and eventually as we go into Tuesday morning, we are going to be watching for snow and a band basically of energy to come right over the Rockies around this high pressure system that's located back over in the northern plains. And what this is going to lead to is the potential for another winter storm. We think this is going to start to ramp up as we go into Tuesday afternoon and evening back over in the central and southern plains, where heavy snowfall is likely in Kansas, southwestern Missouri, and northern Oklahoma, and then also some freezing rain and sleet located in southern Oklahoma, North Texas, and Arkansas. This is going to lead to some slippery conditions out there, in addition to very heavy snowfall that will lead to upwards of a foot of snow in some areas back over in Missouri and Kansas. As we go into Wednesday morning, the snow and ice will be tracking across the northern Dixie Valley and as well as the Ohio Valley, with the heaviest snowfall in Tennessee and as well as Kentucky. And then eventually, as we go into late Wednesday afternoon, we'll be talking about the threat for ice accumulation back over in parts of South and North Carolina, heavy snowfall back over in Virginia, West Virginia, and Kentucky, and even back up into Maryland and Delaware by Wednesday night. And then eventually into Thursday morning, there is a chance that we see some sort of nor'easter component to this. It's going to depend, though, on how far north this trough ends up going. If it stays far enough down to the south, we're only going to get clipped over in southern New England with a few inches of snowfall. But any further north, we could be talking about a full-blown blizzard back over there in parts of southern New England. I also want to point out that there is a risk of severe weather already outlined for Tuesday back along the Gulf Coast, with some isolated damaging winds and a low tornado risk existing. I think severe weather will continue to be a threat as we go into Wednesday back over in the southeast. There is a chance that we go live one of these days for winter storm coverage, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel and click the bell icon down below so you're notified with the latest updates. And also, we're only 34,000 subscribers away from 1 million subscribers, so if all of you subscribe in this video, we might get there. So I would appreciate it if you've not already. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, in terms of snowfall accumulation, we are expecting a lot of snow out of this winter storm. The amount of snowfall is still a little questionable, but I do think the majority of areas here in southern Missouri, southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and northern Arkansas are going to see between 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. That number could go up, though, so stay tuned. We'll keep you posted with the latest with any changes that end up happening. Back over in parts of Tennessee and Kentucky, I would reasonably expect for now between 2 to 5 inches of snow, but again, those numbers will probably increase as we get a bit closer. And then back over in the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, we could be talking about a full-blown major winter storm. I think it's a little too early to give exact numbers on what we're going to be seeing, but I think there's a reasonable expectation that 8 to 12 inches of snow could occur back over in parts of Virginia and as well as North Carolina. And then back over in New England, it's a little too tricky to forecast this area right now. It's going to depend a lot on where that low pressure system ends up positioning itself. But I think in general, we're going to be talking about the most amount of snowfall being across areas in Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, and also back into parts of North Carolina. And here's the chances of seeing greater than 1 inch of snowfall between now all the way through the weekend. We are expecting snowfall essentially anywhere here in the Central Plains, back into parts of the Ohio Valley, as far south as northern Mississippi, and also back into the Carolinas and Virginia. And then this is the chance of seeing greater than 6 inches of snowfall, which would obviously be quite a lot of snow. And the odds are very high right now. If you're back over in the Joplin, Missouri area, also near Tulsa, Oklahoma, the odds are pretty high. And then despite the European model showing more snowfall over in areas like the mid-Atlantic, the odds are a little bit lower just due to the uncertainty that exists right now back over in Virginia and North Carolina. Nonetheless, there is going to be a chance there for some snowfall, and I think that overall we're going to have a pretty good chance of seeing over than 6 inches of snowfall really anywhere there in eastern Virginia or even northern North Carolina. But again, time will tell. Things may change over the next few days, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel and click the bell icon down below so you're notified with the latest updates. We'll have daily updates talking all about this, and we also may go live later this week, so make sure to subscribe to the channel.